Well, I just thought I'd stop in and say hello. This has been a dreadful day. Well, I just thought I'd stop in and that's and part say of it. Hello. There we go. Top chat, live chat. Don Gallagher. Hi, Don. Whew. I just got a shipment of fish in. They came in really, really bad. So bad, I don't even want to post them. And they were fish I've been looking for and waiting for probably a year. Hi, George. Raining there in Pennsylvania. It's real overcast here in Florida. Selfin is lurking while driving. Oh dear. That's a little scary. Pet Sonics. I know it's terrible. I'm just so depressed about it. The fish were not dead. They were in just horribly beat up. I've already spoken to the supplier and they're going to make it good. It won't be a problem. I'm not going to pay for them. I've contacted one of my um, hobbyist fish room people. They've come over and taken them back to a rehab tank. So, and they've done some miracle work before. So I'm hopeful that that at least a couple of these guys will make it. We got 4 pandawarus in, which, if you know anything about them, are very, very hard to get. They're real touchy. They're wild caught in the Amazon. They're rare, not profoundly rare, but rare. We do have a few in our group. We have two of our group have colonies of them, and I was hoping to be able to supplement the colonies and maybe get a third colony started. We've been real successful at bringing Waru into the industry. We've got a couple of breeders now who are cranking about in large quantities, large numbers, and getting them into the wholesale stream. So we want to be able to do it with the pandas. We're also working with a lot of the L series plecos, trying to get them commercially available, trying to get the price down on them and so. But today was a little depressing. Those fish came in. They look like they have been branded. They just had big, huge sores on each side of the fish. Just can't even imagine what happened. Dreadful. Hi, said Ginger. Listen, I've got an issue, and you guys are the best ones to deal with it. I need moderators, at least one or two, and then I need to schedule a regular time to be on. I've been popping on like this, helter skelter, for a week or two, and I know it's not fair. This past Sunday, I was on during business hours in the shop for about 2 hours, hour and a half, and it was great fun. And I think everybody who plugged in, there were about 20 people plugged in. I think everybody enjoyed it. It was a chance to interact with some customers. Something I've been wanting to do because invariably there are conversations that take place with customers that I wish were on video. And this will be a chance to do that. So maybe we'll have a Sunday afternoon workshop live with live in, and we can do live on. But I need one or two people who are willing to help me out to monitor these these live broadcasts I'm doing. If any of you or I know Susan had expressed interest, and I'm sure she would. Um, Anybody else? I don't know. Zen Ginger Mods and Kaler. I don't even know how to set it up. Is that the little nine, the YouTube apps? That's not it. All right, there's a three button, three dot manage moderators. Okay, can we do this right now? Zengen would be great. You want to? All right, manage mods. I click on that, correct? And then it goes. Everything goes away. Oh dear. Paste new moderators channel URL. Oh dear God. All right, I need to go back. I'm in a new screen, so that was a help. Let's see. 35 Richarich says, sign me up, Zen Ginger. Aquaballs, Petsotics, a bunch of you. Okay, I need to know how to do this. I guess, let's see. Let me try to do one. I go to manage moderators. And then for moderators, I need to post moderators channel URL. So can you guys post your URL for me and I'll cut and paste it. Does that work? Can we do that? I don't know what we can do here. Let's see, let me get down a little further. Ah. Okay, so what do I need to do? Somebody guide me through this. Can't post URL unless you're not already. Okay, so I need to go to Zen Ginger. I need to go to your channel. And is that the URL? Your channel URL? Is that what it refers to? So if I go to Zen Ginger in the search engine, the Zen Ginger, Ginger's Zen Chat. You are the Zen Ginger. Subscribe, gotta be. Okay, so now I think I have moderators. Paste the Zen Ginger. Save. Now I get back to where I was. Did we do anything? Not sure we did.
Did we do anything?
No shortage of volunteers. I see that. That's wonderful. Now I tried to get Zen Ginger. I copied her URL. I went to the moderator thingy. Let's see, go to the comments on your channel. See the individual you like to the right of the screen. Should be able comments you like. Pick a moderator. Right. I did that. Somehow it didn't work. Let me go back. Need to go back up to the top of the page. Oh, Wait a minute. There's Silly Susie. All right, where is Zen Ginger? Right there. Go to channel. Huh, did that. Add moderator. Oh, that's too easy. Too easy. Doesn't count. Did we do it? Are you there? Test. Oh, unreal. It can't be that easy. Okay, aqua balls. Are you ready? Here we go. I can hide you, or I can add you as a moderator. I will hum. Let me think now. Hum. Okay, I'm gonna add you as a moderator. I can always hide you later. Aqua balls is added. You should be there. Just posted a comment on my last video. Spawning plant. A good spawning plant. Well, that's a really. It depends on the fish. What kind of fish are you trying to spawn? See, I ain't all that dumb. I know the right questions. Father, try the little drop downs. I did. Yes, that's working. Aquaballs. We got who else? Silly Susie. Silly definitely is coming on as a moderator. Here we go. Add moderator. Aquaballs, did you see your little wrench? You said, oh yes, there it is. Ta-da! With a smiley. Look at that. Cute. Hornwort, somebody says. Hornwort's great. Again, it depends on the fish. What kind of fish? Live bearer. Ah, okay. So for a live bearer, what's a good spawning? I'll tell you what I really like is Java moss. Cut it, spread it wide, sort of, because the babies can hide in it and not much can get to them. You need something that's sort of bulky that they can hide in. Java moss fits that bill really nicely. Green sailfin mollies. Okay, who else? Let's go back up here. Let's do another moderator. Click on the names. Yes, we did that. Aqua. Now, here's everybody explaining to me how to do it now that I'm going back up. Kaylors. Kaylors is now a moderator. I assume this obligates people. Do you feel obligated, Kaylor? All right. That's 4 or 5. That's a good start. I'll go back and add more as we get along. Let me catch up with your questions here. Trying to breed a Pistogranda double red. I'll tell you, the best way to breed the pistos is to put them in an environment where they've got lots of places to hide. They are nest builders. They build a small nest on the bottom. Just they dig out the sand a little bit. They can lay their eggs right on the bottom. They'll lay them on the side of a piece of wood, on a little stone, on anything. Typically on the bottom. They're a bottom breeder. They don't. They dig a small pit, not much of one, and they'll hover. They'll stay right there. So you need lots of little places in the tank where a couple can get together and sort of hide out. Think illicit love affair. Think the little glens and little special places that you'd like to go with your lover, with your best friend, to hide out for a while. That's kind of what they're looking for. A place that's out of the way, that nobody else is going to much bother them, that they can defend from somebody coming into their little area. Try to create spots like that. You can do it well with plants, with rocks, with driftwood, with other stuff. You want a kind of a mixed terrain for them, and they'll do it all by themselves. They breed real easily. Then you can leave the babies in there. I like to, once the babies are free swimming, I usually will siphon some out. But if you have just the pistos in the tank, they're going to leave their babies alone. They're not going to mess with them. And the other pistos are not going to mess with them. You'll be able to get a colony. They're very much like the a lot of the Tanganykas in that respect. They don't predate on their own fry. Sweet little fish to breed. I've got some spawning in my blackwater tank. That's a 150 with a lot of mulm. It's a kind of a dirty tank. It's hard to video, because it's hard to see through, and it's usually stirred up by plecos or whatever. But I've got a bunch of different pistos in there, 2 or 3 different types, and they're all spawning. I think the tetras are getting a lot of the babies, but some of them are making it, I'm sure. Fish room fever. Let's see. Where are we here? We need to get to the bottom. Bad footage. Could be bad footage. It's probably hard to see me because I'm up so close to the monitor. To back off a bit. Can I dirt a tank with angels, or would they dig up the cap? No, they won't. Angels won't dig. They don't even make pits. You won't have a problem at all with angels digging up cap. Not a bit of it. This is in with neons. Water moderately hard pH 7.4. That's perfect. Perfect. Won't be a problem at all. Send ginger. Just go with it. It'll be fine. Bad footage. Don't know what you're referring to, amateur. Streamline. Thank you, sweetie. I'd be very happy to know she chose me as mother. Well, you're such a great guy. Wife will be happy to know I chose you. That's fun. That's fun. Thank you. Missed Sailfin's question. Okay, what are we back? Don't need obligation to enjoy. Thank you, silly. That's sweet. I was looking at some of your videos the other day. I'm trying to get around to visit everybody to see what their videos are. It's just amazing. I am amazed. It says internet buffering, really. Is it showing up funny? I've cut the video off on my mother. Cut it back on. I don't know if that makes a difference. Let's see. Get to the bottom here. Nests. How about snails like giant rams, or do they bother to pair? I have not noticed it. I've not noticed. The only snails I'm aware of that will bother eggs are mysteries. Apple snails. Apple snails certainly will. They'll eat anything and everything. Mysteries can. Generally, snails don't eat eggs, generally, because to do so, they would eat their own. Um, Eggs are are have a protective coating that makes them unpalatable to things like snails. Although I dare say there's some that will. I try to make sure I don't have anything in the tank or eggs in there that there's any possibility of predation. It's just not worth the risk. If you got one or two snails, you can take them out. If you got 500, it's a different problem. Just keep an eye on it and see what happens. Giant ramshorn. I've got a bunch of giant ramshorns. I have not noticed any problems with them. I've not even noticed a problem with eating plants. So far, they're being a really good snail, a good cleaning crew. They're being good neighbors. Who's got white cloud fry? That's something I need to do. Hi, Alien World. Happy to see you. Aquamalls. Where are we? Pixelated. Well, that could be. Yeah, it is. You're right. I see it. I see it on my monitor. It's kind of slow and jumping around. That's weird. It is pixelated. And that probably, I mean, that's from me to me. So chances are it's something happening right here. Um, well, let me work on that. I'll talk to my provider and see what he says. See if maybe we can up the rate or something to try to get a better picture. Yeah, I agree. It's not wonderful. My service provider is a personal friend. Giant ramshorn snails eats the hair algae. Yeah, I don't have any hair algae. I got to admit, that's cool. Nice. So AA amateurs got the fry white clouds. That's such a sweet fish. One of the first fish I ever bred, and I might have even caught them wild. I don't remember. I was in New York for a while, Upper New York State, and I caught some fish as a kid and bred them. Dooby doo in the water. Lost most of your white clouds in the pond. So we keep a cold water fish room with no heaters. Yeah, they're a cold water fish. Um, the long fins, the long fin white clouds are a stunning fish. I got a bunch of them not long ago, and they came in real pretty. But I have not spawned them. Really haven't spawned much in the way of little egg scatterers for a long time. I've been teaching it to my customers, but I've not been doing it myself. It's hard to do with the kind of operation I'm running. It's one of the things I really miss having a shop is all of the joys of personal fish keeping, fish room fish keeping, where you get to spend a whole lot of time with a specific animal and work with it, learn its traits. I don't get to do that so much. So when a fish does spawn, I get real excited. And we got some new babies back there. On the video yesterday, they have been moved twice since then. They're up off the bottom, starting to feed. I'll do a video of them tomorrow. They'll be swimming around. I've taken everything else out of the tank, so nothing is going to bother them. Pretty little fish. Again, not at all sure about the species. I think I raised that issue. Here, talking about heaters. Funny thing about heaters, with cold water fish, it's okay. With warm water fish, you almost have to have heaters. Not because the water gets cold, but to keep the temperature stable. If I noticed here, one of two things will happen when the temperature changes outside. And usually it's both. First thing that happens is everybody starts to spawn. We got spawn everywhere. And that's happening right now. There must be 10 pairs of fish spawning in the shop. The other thing that happens is certain groups of fish get ick. So throw a heater in the tank, kick the temperature up to 86. In a day or two, it's gone. Then I slowly bring it down, but I leave the heater in, leave it at 82, so it doesn't come back. Occasionally I'll miss it because my eyes are getting old and I don't see everything. I'll miss the egg and I'll start pulling dead fish out. And then when I look carefully, I see that it's been in there for about a week and it's wiped virtually everything out. Doesn't take long. We're talking heaters here. What ate your dragonflies? Whatever it is the most desirable fish in the pond. Dragonfly larvae are monsters. They are killers. They are dreadful. Backing up to see what else is here. Well, I'm feeling better already. Thank you, guys. I came here kind of high strung and upset. This wire really bummed me out coming in like that. Good immune systems. Does anyone try to breed fish with good immune systems? And is that possible? Amateur aquatics. I don't know what you're referring to. Explain yourself a little better. I don't know what you're getting at. Try to breed fish with good immune systems. Tell me what you mean. Give me an example. They do. Right. Dragons kill fish. You bet. The larvae do. Dragonfly do too. I've seen dragonfly carry little fish off from a pond. Believe that or not. They are vicious animals. Yeah, very possible. Something got them. And dragonfly larvae will get them too because they lurk. They'll just hang there and wait for a fish to come by. And then, like a mantis, they snatch it and chow down. They're raw. Is Texas too hot for ponds? Heavens, no. Wonder if there's anything since 4090s. Any fish living on the North American continent can stand temperatures 40 to 90s or lower, or even a little higher. Once you get down below 2 feet, get down about 3 feet in a pond, the temperature of the water starts taking on the ambient temperature of the ground. Get down below 2 feet, It's going to be a little bit cooler on a hot day because the ground, the temperature of the ground, you get down below about 16 inches, is cooler. And that cool ground temperature will cool the water in the lower part of the pond. So that if there's very little movement, because heat tends to rise, the warm water will stay at the top, the cold water will stay at the bottom, and you'll get a strata. And it can be a pretty strong strata. It can go from 90 to 60 in a matter of inches. Um, that's why I think it's a good idea in a deep pond to have a pump. Now, having said that, that's for summer. In the winter, you want just the opposite. In the winter, when there's a likelihood of a freeze in a deep pond, the fish will go to the bottom and they'll be safe because it'll be warmer and it won't freeze over. It'll be 60 to 70 down there. So ponds are wonderful places, wonderful ways to keep fish. They always do well, so long as you guard for predation. And dragonflies are a big part of that. So you need something that eats dragonflies. Any of the big cichlids will. They just love them, scarf them right up. You can keep an Oscar or something like that. You just want a locker for the baby fish and the little guys so they can escape predation. The best way to do that in a pond is to have a shallow area that's no more than a couple of inches deep with plants growing in it or leaves growing in the water on it so babies can hide in there. And you'll be able to maintain a wide variety of tropicals in an outdoor pond. The other benefit of an outdoor pond is that it feeds the fish. There are all kinds of things fall in the water that build the microculture and that also like insects that provide food for fish. Generally, you don't need to feed fish in a pond nearly as much as you would in a tank indoor. So that's my lecture on ponds. Aren't you glad that you asked, Zen Ginger? Skitterfish and swordtails. Yeah, when you do mosquitoes, I recommend you do not do gambusi. If you can get Formosa, do Formosa. If you can get blue line killies, if you can get darters, don't do gambusi. Gambusi will attack a fish 100 times its size, and a bunch of them will nip their fins away until they kill them. It's a uniquely aggressive little beast that I don't like at all. Unfortunately, here in Florida, mosquito control sells it and puts it in ponds because it's cheap and easy and prolific. They can get lots of them for nothing. And they do control mosquitoes, of course, as well as everything else. Um, be careful what you put in. Mosquito fish can tear up swordtail. Did great in the ponds. I'm sure they did. That's terrific. Nests. And sick like rats getting poisoned somewhere. What are we talking about? Poison. What poison? Everyone tried to breed fish with good immune. We wanted to get back to that. Did we get back to that? To prevent fish getting sick. Well, I'm not sure I'm following your concern. Obviously, there are fish that can tolerate toxins at a higher rate. I think anytime you use any kind of toxin in a tank, you're threatening to destroy the biology of the system. That's why I prefer not to use quick cure or any of the other ick medicines because they not only kill the ick, they kill the microfauna, they kill the bacteria, they kill every living thing that's in that tank, including the fish that are not strong enough to tolerate it. It's poison and it's unnecessary. All you have to do is raise the temperature to 86 degrees, leave it there for 2 to 3 days. It will not hurt anything except ick. And the reason is very simple. The reason is ick is a cold water parasite. It cannot survive in temperatures above 85 degrees. It's got an Achilles heel, and it's easy to kill it. So do it that way. When you have it, put a heater in, kick the temperature up. Don't try to pull the sick fish up. Just treat the whole tank with heat. It'll. Everybody else will appreciate it. The ick's the only thing that won't. Trust me on this. Oh, so he's talking about. I guess what you're talking about, amateur, is using toxins, trying to treat goldfish. Yeah, I agree. I don't think you want to try to treat goldfish. I'm not getting the sense of this issue. Somebody fill me in. Silly is asking Zen. I got to talking too much and not paying attention, and I missed the conversation. You need to pay attention to the conversation. I text to talk don't work. Right. Tanks get in the 50s. That's a little cold. If it goes slow, it's all right. How are I, GT Aquatics? Great, thanks. This has been a boon to me. I came on here half an hour or so ago, beat up, and feeling just charmed by the delight of so many sweet people. It's wonderful. Kaylor says hi, GT. All right, somehow I missed that whole conversation that was going on back there. Aquatic Nest is done using talk to text. A couple of tubs, aquaballs of plants sitting outside. That's always great fun. There's so many fish you can breed in those outdoor tubs. It's just a fabulous way to keep fish. Try to keep an eye on it though, because if you've got dragonflies flitting around, they're going to lay eggs in any little body of water. Those eggs turn into beasts. They turn into dragons, water dragons. And you need to, if you notice that the fish population is dwindling, you might just take everything out, check it carefully, and get those little monsters in there. Or put something in that'll eat them. But don't put poison in to kill them because it kills more than its target. We haven't developed toxins yet that are species specific, at least not in the fish hobby. So try real hard not to put poisons in your tank. Let's see how we're doing time wise here. Ground pump effect. What does that refer to? Same things than ginger. I gotta follow this back. Texas 200 pounds. Wonder if there's anything separate. Oh, okay. We did deal with that. Yeah, not a problem. Get down. Just dig the pond deep. Dig it at least 3 foot deep, and you'll be good. That really is a terrible picture, isn't it? I need to talk to my provider. Hmm. We're trying to read. Oh dear, here we go. Trying to say everyone worries about fish getting sick. You breed fish that have better immune systems and are more resistant to getting sick. Oh, sure. Um, Here's the issue, though. Most fish are not sickly. Most fish don't get sick easily. Most fish keepers have aquariums that are not healthy. And you put a healthy fish in a sick tank, and the tank is going to make the fish sick. You put a healthy fish in a healthy tank, and that tank is going to keep the fish healthy. The real issue is learning how to create a healthy, balanced environment. And for a lot of people, this runs against the grain. For example, I was watching a video today of someone building an absolutely beautiful aquarium, uh, a sculptured aquarium. It was spectacular. Now, this is a person without naming names because it doesn't matter. This is a person who sets up these spectacular tanks, enjoys them for 6 months to a year, and then breaks them down and does something else. Now, if that's what you're going to do, you really don't need things like a deep substrate. In fact, it kind of works against it because it's a little difficult to clean it up. And you don't want to clean it up because the older it gets, the more stable it gets and the healthier and so forth. So here's the point. There are some tanks that are set up for the purpose of maintaining for a short period of time. I would call that less than a year, a population of fish. Those, I think, are the most difficult systems to keep fish alive and healthy in. They just are because it's impossible to create in that very limited environment the kind of biological support systems that will keep the tank healthy. So you tend to add a lot of things to it. You tend to add extra filtration. You tend to do a lot of water changes. You tend to do buffers or something else that's going to add nutrition. You tend to feed a little more. You tend to treat with prophylactics a little more. In other words, it takes more effort to maintain fish in a healthy condition, and it's really not set up to be a healthy tank. And this is what I'm trying to teach, that there is simply another way to keep fish, and that's the old way. The old way says you can create an aquarium that will last a lifetime by creating an aquarium that has the biological system in it that is able to maintain a balance between the plants and the animals, the fish, the water, and the substrate, the soil, and the air, and the food you put in. You create a perfect balance, and it's not a delicate balance. It's not something that you can mess up easily. It's a very almost ponderous balance. It's a balance that demands itself. It demands stability. It achieves stability because it forces stability upon itself. So it's easier to do by doing the half a dozen things that are needful to be able to create that environment than to try to create something that's kind of shallow and superficial and requires a lot of continued intervention. Look at some of the videos that I put up around mid-November on creating a dirted tank. It really explains a lot of that. Let me get back to the conversation here. So that was amateur aquatics. Mountain minnows and mosquito guppies are still okay. They will be. Anything wild like that is going to be great. It can get down to freezing and it'll be fine. What would cause internal bleeding in the Sullivan's rainbow? Well, this is a really good question. And it's probably not parasites, GT aquatics. Have you ever noticed bleeding around the base of the fins of a fish? The dorsal fin, the ventral fins, the tail fin, maybe around the gill plates, where it's kind of red, looks raw. That's caused, we call it pH burn. It's really not a burn at all. It's caused by the pH typically dropping in the tank so precipitously that a fish that has been used to being in hard alkaline water has its cell structure compromised. If you take a fish of hard alkaline water and you put it in a tank that has 6.0 soft acid water, it will die. Might take 10 minutes, might take an hour, but it will die. And the reason it dies is because of osmotic pressure. The osmotic pressure of the water inside the cells causes the cells to expand to match the, the osmotic pressure of the water outside the cell. And it expands to the point where it tears, where it breaks down, and it bleeds. And you see blood. You see the fish bleeding from its gills, from its fins, from all the places where there are where the skin is closest to the surface, so the muscle is closest to the surface, and it'll die. It'll kill it. Sometimes it'll spin, just go into a tailspin and just spin and spin. So when you see blood like that, check the pH. First thing to do is check the pH. If the pH is okay, then it's another issue. It's not the only thing that can cause it, but it's pretty common to see that. So be aware of your pH all the time. That's the only thing you really need to monitor is pH. Breed fish their immune systems. All fish are resistant to getting sick. Keep them in a healthy tank, they won't get sick. How's that for an answer? You're not going to breed them in an unhealthy tank anyway, because they won't be able to. You can't take strong, vigorous fish, put them in a tank of foul water, and expect them to spawn. They're not going to do it. Healthy fish in a healthy tank, and you'll get spawn. What would cause external bleeding? Hi, Chevy Fish. Am I familiar with eels? Gymnothorax tail, Indian mud moray. So my petco is freshwater snowflake. I have two that have stopped eating when the weather turns cold. Well, that's pretty normal. Eels can go 6 months easily without eating, particularly if they've got any size on. If they're a baby, they can't. But if they're 12 inches or more, they can go a long time without eating. I wouldn't worry about it too much. I'm looking at myself in the monitor with my mouth hanging open. It's terrible. Yuck. I read it's a common problem where we that was the eels learned how to add a bunch of plants, living plants, aquagones, deep sand bed, deep sand bed, deep sand bed, deep substrate, guys. Balanced tank, deep substrate. Study it, learn it, do it. Do it one time in one tank. That's all you need to do. One time in one tank. Next time you set up a tank, you'll do it the same way. And every other time you set up a tank after that, for the most part, you'll do it the same way because it works. And it works brilliantly and it's amazingly effective. Just do it. Try it. Too many people are afraid of it. See so many awesome people I know. You know, that's such a joy. I feel like there's a whole bunch of people, of which I am happy to count myself a member, who have come on mostly over the past couple of years and are wanting fishtube to be something that's really remarkable, to be a real community. And I think as groups of us are able to get over 1,000 and to reach out to more people. We're going to bring more into this community, but we're the key to it. We're the core of it. You guys have been at it a lot longer than me. I've only been around a couple of months. I started September 15th, bopped along the bottom on a rocky road for 2 months when Lucas took pity on me, took me by the hand and pulled me up out of the mud and perched me on the hard road. And within 2 days, 200 people had subscribed to my channel. 2 days. That put me at 250. I'm at 650. So over the last month, it's been about 100 a week. I am blessed. And I'm blessed mostly by being able to be around you guys. It is an absolute blessing. And I revel in it. And I take real joy in it. And real excitement in the knowledge that something is happening here that is going to explode, not just for me, but for all of us. It's going to take this channel and take the fish tube in places it's never been before. And I think ultimately it's going to result in many, many, many more people starting fish tanks because we will have been able to give folks the assurance that they can do it without killing their fish. That's why people get out of it, because they keep killing their fish, because they're not getting the kind of advice that they need. So hang in there, folks. We are the best friends of the folks that don't have fish yet, but are going to get them. Substrate video, right? Let's see. Hit that like. Some more people join in the chat room. Where are we? Glad Lucas mentioned you. Oh, I am too. And you know, it took somebody like Lucas, because I'm a pretty laid back kind of guy. You know, I can be nasty. I'm working real hard at not allowing any of that to ever come out, and I hope it never does. You know, I can be sarcastic, and I don't appreciate it in myself, and I don't want to allow it of any sway here at all. I want to be gentle and kind and a sweet old man. And it took Lucas, I think, to see that and to appreciate that. He's just one of the most gentle people I think I've ever met. We're we're trying to get his family down to Venice. We're we're thinking now in May to meet our club and do a program. So just very excited about that. Let's see. Consider retaining your money pit of a car. Yeah, I know about that. Lucas is here. Really? Sun Ginger, nasty. Well, sarcastic. Want rainbow fish for Christmas. There are so many wonderful rainbows. I was looking at some videos from Australia today of guys catching rainbows in the ponds and lakes and creeks and bringing them in their tanks. Boy, that looks like fun. And such pretty little fish. Not the big fancies, but the pretty little ones that like the thread fins that just have so much magnificent color. That was fun. Can't wait to visit. Oh, he is. Oh, he is. Hi, Lucas. Happy to see you. Yeah, we're excited about you coming. You reckon a 4-inch substrate is the minimum for a healthy tank? I do. I think 4 inches is a minimum for a maximum tank. Obviously, if the strubs if the substrate were a foot deep, it would be better, but it would be ridiculous. For a little tank like a 10-gallon, you can't do 4 inches. You can't really even do three. I try to encourage people to do just a little more than two, above 2 inches. Anaerobics begin at 2 inches. If you get just a little bit of anaerobic, it helps. And then you can always add a little more sand to the top a little later on. But yeah, and here's the issue with the excuse me, with the substrate. Think of it this way. There's life in that. If you have 4 inches, let me get seen here. How do I do this? I don't know if I do it. There we go. 4 inches of substrate. Every quarter of an inch going down has life in it. And it's a different form of life, a different kind of life. So the more the more depth you have, the greater the diversity of life you can have in the substrate. The greater the diversity, the healthier the tank is going to be. 4 inches, I think, is minimum for a healthy tank. I recommend 3 inches. And the only reason I do that is because if I say 4 inches to somebody, they won't do it. They'll do nothing. They won't do anything. 3 inches, I can kind of encourage them to do it. Although what they'll wind up with is 2 inches. Then they'll complain a little that it's not working. And I'll say, well, add a little more sand to it. And they'll put another half inch in, and that'll trigger. And then every time you have a problem, this is kind of the key to a deep substrate tank. Every time you have a problem like too much detritus mulming on the top, the water's not clear, funny things happening, add a half an inch of sand. That almost instantly clears it up. It reestablishes the anaerobic layer. That anaerobic layer can break down with a waste buildup that gets so high it overwhelms it. By adding a little more sand, you create a little more anaerobic, which gives it a chance to catch up with the waste that's coming into the system. Now, having said that, I'm going to let you in on a secret. This is the father fish secret. This will probably get me thrown off fish tube. What I just said, I cannot prove. I do not know for a fact that it's true. I have my experience that proves it out. I can show you that it works. That's simply my rationale for why it's doing what it's doing. I kind of like the rationale. I think it makes sense. I think it's vivid. I think it communicates some clarity and understanding. It makes it possible to grasp the concept of creating a living environment that goes down below the top of the sand, because that's the key. I mentioned in the video a while back, there was research done on the dirt, the 3 foot of substrate underneath coral reefs all over the world. They determined that where that substrate was healthy, the reef was healthy. Where it was sick, the reef was sick. And I know, in fact, that's true in a tank. If the substrate is healthy, the tank will be healthy. If the substrate is sick, if it's foul, if it's rotten, if it just is exuding um, uh, dirt and rotten stuff, and bacteria, then the water is going to be affected, and the whole thing will be a mess. So you keep the substrate healthy, you keep the tank healthy. Enough for that lecture. Lucas, CO2 and deep substrate. I haven't used it. I have friends who do, and they like it because it promotes plant growth among with the very low growing plants, and they're the tough ones to get going anyway because it's hard to get adequate light to them. Um, One of the tricks we've been doing that we've been teaching in our club is to use small bottles of soda water and pour a third of that into your tank um, on a by daily, every other day basis. That bottle will last almost a week, and it'll provide CO2 that'll be enough to support the plant growth. So you don't need a big expensive system. You need a little 59-cent bottle of soda water, and it works just fine. Let's see, Eponygines. Where are we? What plants do well in higher temperatures? Almost all of the plants you're likely to encounter will do well in higher temperatures, 79 to 84. I do not consider that high temperatures. I like to keep my tanks at 82. If they get up to 84, doesn't bother me a bit. My discus tank runs close to 90. 79 to 84, nearly everything will live in that. Most of these plants are tropical or semi-tropical plants. They're used to being in very warm temperatures, very warm water, at least through the summer. So you're not going to hurt them with a high temperature. Sharpie's candy, do. Apologetian and Pogosternon do great in higher temperatures. Yeah, and do you know why? Because they come from shallow water rain pools in African, that's Ivory Coast jungle areas where it's very muggy and very hot. And they love it. And they do really, really well. Tell you what else they do well in. They do magnificently well in deep substrate. And you better believe it. That's what they're coming out of, and that's what they want to go in. You can fill a tank with an Apologetian, any size tank, in about 2 months in a deep substrate. Bare bottom tanks allows me to get all the nasties. Well, that'll do, but I don't do bare bottom tanks and I don't get nasties. I don't know what you're referring to. I throw down a challenge, Jay's better. I threw down a challenge. Do sand, 2 inches of sand at about a tank. One better, one tank. Come back to me in a month and tell me what you think. Um, I don't have nasties in my tanks. I don't know what you're referring to. My sheet 6 wouldn't be at all surprised. Try to keep your tanks low. Low to the ground or water level low? What is this better now? Slightly, not much. Sharpies models in aquatics. Any ideas for suitable dither schooling type fish for a pair of apistos in a smaller tank? Yeah, absolutely. Nothing. Leave the pistos in there alone. They're going to have babies, and the babies will become dither fish. Um, really, apistos do really well by themselves. They don't need company. They don't even like it much, really. They don't hang around. They go hide somewhere in a corner so they can do their thing. So in a little tank, I would just do a pair of apistos, maybe a trio. I've seen a male go between nests where females had where two females had two different nests, and the male was working both of them. So you can do that too. Challenge accepted. Great. Keep me posted. If it all crashes and burns around your ears, then come back and smack me upside the head with it. Let me know how wrong I am. I love it. Any tips on keeping black paradise fish? Oh dear God. Black paradise fish. Tips on keeping them. Yes. Best tip on keeping black paradise fish is to have one and put it in a tank by itself. It will turn into the most magnificently beautiful fish you have ever seen. But if you put it in with another fish, it'll tear it up and get torn up. They are a mean little bugger, but they are stunning. Not like a male betta. You can't keep male bettas together. You can't keep these guys with the paradise with much of anything. They just tear everything up. You tell them that'll work out pretty well, and then it's got more of go for it, MC. See, Well, I'm back. My internet dropped off. It rebooted. I guess that means we've been on here long enough. I am so gratified to be able to be with you guys. You've lifted me up for the day. I'm energized and feeling excited again. I'll give you an update on those fish that came in rough today. I'm hoping they'll make it. I've got a few more supposed to come in later. Let's see. I think everybody looks like everybody's gone. Uh, so thank you for plugging in, and we'll do this again real soon. End broadcast. I'm going to end the broadcast. See if anybody's still here. No, doesn't look like it. Chat disconnected. Okay.